Hi there, welcome to our online health and wellness expo. Today I have Tracey Olivier. How do we say that last name, Tracey?
Olivier.
Olivier.
Just think of Sir Lawrence Olivier.
Oh, that's Sir Lawrence Olivier. There we go. So Tracey is from South Africa, actually, as you may well hear in her voice. And Tracey, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So I am from South Africa. I have been in New Zealand for nearly 5 years now. So we're about to become citizens, which I'm very excited about.
Yay.
Although I'll always have Africa in my heart. And sorry, my things are coming through now, so it's pinging.
No, that's okay. We can deal with it.
Can I turn? Okay, do I turn it off? We'll leave it.
That'd be
Okay.
fun.
Cool. So I come from South Africa. I have 3 boys, so quite an age difference. I have a 26-year-old, a 24-year-old, and then a 15-year-old. So we thought we were done, and then we decided we weren't. And so Daniel is at home still. And the other 2 boys live in Hamilton. So at the moment, I'm isolated from them. So only seeing them on Facebook, which is quite sad. So I didn't realize how much I miss seeing them. But I love reading business books. I'm a real business book junkie. And I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So I have to force myself on the weekends to down the tools. So I've taken up crocheting.
Crocheting. There you go.
Yeah, because I still can sit and blob, but I feel like I'm being productive. So
yeah, nice.
But yeah, so that's basically. I'm an author as well, so I've written a book, and I'm currently writing my 2nd book. And yeah, I think that's about all.
That's about all. And so, what do you do as a business, Tracey? What's your business, and how does it work? I should know this because we've met through the Venus Network, and I should know exactly what you do. But I'll let you tell everybody.
I know, yeah. So my business is called Tracey Olivier Consulting. And when I first started, I actually wanted to kind of have the coaching in it. But actually, I've realized more and more consulting is probably the biggest thrust of the business. Mm-hmm. And so what I do is I work with leaders and their teams to help them become really healthy organizations, because it really does matter. I think I got into this business because I started off in the training world. So I used to do sales, customer service, and leadership training. But what I've realized is, in fact, I think it's about 6 frustrations that I've had through just in the training that actually has forged the business that I have today. And one of the key things I realized was that training is, although it's powerful and it's wonderful and it is something that we need to do, it's limited in its impact, because it basically just creates awareness. But we're just not designed to take things that we learn in one day and then change our whole lives. It's just doesn't happen that way. So I love the coaching.
Humans kind of don't work that way, do they?
No, it's not even in our biology. So one of the thing that I love about the coaching and the coaching and consulting kind of go hand in hand, because it's kind of, I call it the ABC, and it's the A is for accountability. So whether you're coaching or consulting, it's a long-term relationship. And it's about holding people accountable, because as much as we all want to do and make the change, the reality is our brains aren't even designed that way. We have to create brand new pathways, which is hard to do. And then we have to keep on moving on those pathways. So we need people to be accountable to. The B is for biology, which means we have to create pathways. And if we realize that's how our brains are wired, then it just makes things easier. And then the C is for consistency. So it's about that consistent, making sure that you taking it step by step and creating something that's consistent, and that the relationship is consistent and all of that. I think the other thing I realized, and what was one of my frustrations, is that you cannot fix the team if the leadership isn't involved. Mm-hmm. And I would get called in to fix them. And often it was even more destructive. And because one of my key core values is making a difference, it would kill me that I was actually, it would often create more heartache than it actually created change. And so I thought, I've got to change that, which led me to how I operate at the moment. The other thing was vision leaks. So what I mean by that is, often leaders think it's like a husband telling his wife, I love you on their wedding day. And then if she gets upset because he doesn't repeat that he loves her, he goes, well, I'll let you know if anything changes. It doesn't work like that. Vision leaks. And so as leaders, if we're not constantly reminding people what the vision is, they don't know. And that's the reality. And it's not because they're not paying attention. It's because vision leaks constantly. And so we need to keep reminding them what we're doing, where we're going. And especially now, this is where leadership, and I must say, I really commend the leadership of this country, because they've been incredible in the communication, which is just helps us know where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is trust. Trust is everything. And that's all teams. The foundation is trust. So I realized a while ago that if you don't have trust in place, and if your people don't trust their leadership, and or vice versa, you'll never get their full potential out of them and never be able to untap full potential. And then just, I think basically I've realized just the way that I've built the business is that it's all about creating scaffolding that creates really good conversations that actually make the change. All the other stuff is just extra. So it's really basically at the core of everything. What I do is I create scaffolding for people to have really robust, sometimes quite heated, which is okay. If you have a safe space, it can get quite heated, but to have really robust, good conversations, because if we don't have those, we don't make good decisions. And in business, we need to be making good decisions. Yeah, so that's how I got into what I do.
Look, that's fascinating, Tracey. And, you know, my head sits here and thinks back to when I was a consultant working in a consultancy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if you had come into that business, it was so broken, you know, like I just, you know, the leadership wasn't there. Like, I think you would have walked in and gone, okay, well, if we need to fix this, we need to remove that leader.
Yeah, and you know, not necessarily, because oftentimes we expect the leaders to know all this stuff. We don't. It's actually doing this it's really simple, and that's why I can do it, because I'm a simple girl. I'm not complicated. I'm not overly clever. It's really simple, and that's what often makes people go, oh, this sounds far too simple. And it really is simple, but it's not easy. That's the problem. It takes courage. And it takes hard work, because we're working with human behavior, and that's the part I absolutely love. So the more dysfunctional teams are, the more excited I get because it's so simple to make the changes. People go, they almost apologize when I'm coming in, and I'm going, oh no, this is amazing, yay. I know I'm a bit weird.
Functional business, and I'll be happy. So yeah, totally. Oh, no, that's really fantastic. Look, you know, the 25 odd years I had working in, 20 odd years in consultancy, you know, I saw all sorts, and I've seen great leaders and great mentors and those sorts of things, and I've seen the dire opposite as well. And I must admit, when I set up my own business and became my own consultant and consulting directly with my clients, like that was just, it was liberating and life-changing for me, because I could set the expectation, you know, like there wasn't this in-between person. I dealt directly with the client, and the client and I had, you know, like we agreed our terms of engagement and all of those sorts of things. And we agreed those on my grounds, as opposed to the grounds that someone that doesn't give two hoots about what my life looks like was previously agreeing. So I am like the biggest advocate for run your own business. So I do run businesses. But yeah, I do it for myself, and I do love being my own boss, and I do love that freedom, and it is what I needed to be able to balance my life. But there's certainly, I certainly feel for a lot of businesses out there at the moment. I know of businesses have had to let go long-term staff because they literally can't keep them on through this time, you know? So
it's a really tough time right now. And I think what people do and how people do it is going to really pave a way for the trust, because unfortunately, a lot of people have reacted, and I watched as things were going down, and there was a part of me that was almost like, no, slow down, don't panic, don't do the knee-jerk reactions, because what they did in that moment really is going to pave a way for how the rest of the team, and how much damage control they need to do when we get to the other side of this. And so, we think, well, the people that are gone, but the people that stay, they have been impacted by this as well. So but if you know the right tools, nothing is impossible. I'm also, as you can tell, the eternal optimist.
I love optimists. I think they're a great people to have around, because they keep things light and happy, and they're always looking on the bright side of life. They're constantly looking for the silver lining. And I too, I didn't, in previous lives of mine, I wasn't an eternal optimist. But certainly now I am very much the optimist, and I enjoy having that bright side. And I do find myself like that I will remove myself from people that try and drag me down. It's just like, and it's not because I don't like the person, but it's just like, no, my energy's here, and I need to preserve that energy. And remain being optimistic and positive about life. So I well imagine that our gift of being able to stay home in our PJs or yoga pants and crochet on the couch watching Netflix, that wonderful gift that we've been given for the next month or however long, I well imagine that affected your business operations. So how has it affected you, and how are you adapting to that?
Yeah, so it was really interesting, because nothing that happened took me by surprise, because some of the things that kind of have turned out with things that I was worried about and concerned about, and I thought, I should do something about this. I should set things up a little bit differently, and it was kind of this nagging thought in my head. So some of the things like the teamwork, obviously that's all shut down, because businesses have pulled the belts in, and they've gone, oh, hang on, we can't make any decisions. So obviously that has just about dried up. What's awesome is I've had some commitment from some of my clients saying, look, not now, but not never, which is great. And so as much as we can, and one or two clients that have recognized that, when the dust settles and things go back to semi-normal, we actually need you, because we know that you'll help us get back on track as soon as possible. And so that was really great, because it showed me that those clients understood the value that I was hoping that I was bringing to them. Also, I wasn't set up for the team stuff online, so that's a lot of that happened. Although in saying that, I did offer that to some of the teams, and their whole thing is, right now we just can't make any kind of decisions, and we don't even know who's going to be left behind and all those kind of things. So that made it difficult. The one-on-one coaching that I do, nothing's changed over there, apart from maybe people just saying, I just need to figure out what's going on. But what I've done is I've actually carried on speaking to my clients just to see, are they okay? Because I think I heard somebody he actually wrote a blog, someone I really respect. I use a lot of his tools, Patrick Lencioni. And one of the he had three things, but one really stood out to me. And he said, right now, we need to be exceedingly human. And I just love that too, because that's actually what we need. We don't need to worry about the money right now. We just need to go, how are you as a human? And I think one of my other core values is that making the difference again is just to put the money aside right now and actually just make sure, are you actually okay? Because some of my bigger one-on-one clients, they've got a lot riding on what's going on right now. And so they'll be really going, oh my gosh, my landscape has changed, people in development and all of that stuff, they're all going, wow, this could kind of end me. What's really exciting is, I had a meeting with someone who is involved in that, and he's so positive, and and we just had a chat and kind of got together, and he just said that it was so helpful just to get those fears and to think about all the things that could go wrong, but then actually go, what do I have control over? What can I do right now? And so I think that's really important. I think another thing that I've realized is that to use this downtime to get those things set up. We've kind of, it's a curse and a blessing. So it's not nice that we don't have the work, but actually we need to really use this time to make sure that we are set up for the future. And well done you for being a voice that's really authentic and needed right now. So I think I held back. I was like, I don't know, I don't want to just be another voice, but actually I really commend you, because people do need to hear authentic, full of life and positive voices right now. So good on you for doing that.
Thank you. Well, that's the sole purpose of this, is just, my passion for helping people to find health and wellness in their lives, and that's body, mind, business, everything, to help people. So yes, it is certainly coming from that heart, that authentic heart, that just to people may be looking for someone to coach them through this space, and you could be the person that they didn't know they needed. So them hearing you speak and talk about those things could connect and resonate with them, and then there's that connection that can help them through.
Absolutely. Cool. Very cool. Yeah.
So you are taking time. Are you finishing your next book? Is that what you are taking some time to do?
Yes, I actually am.
Good on you.
And I actually thought the time, I set my a goal to finish it before my birthday, which is in May. So the crunch was on as it is. So my first book was it's called The Journey from Here to There: Navigating the Land in Between. And this one, I seem to have really cheesy titles, but that's just me. This one is Leading from an Open Space, living from an open space. And that's basically the art of self-leadership. Because if we can't control ourselves, then, what's the point, type of thing. So,
yeah. So your first book that you have written, Tracey, can people buy that? Is it available through your website or where?
You can get it on Amazon, but it's actually disconnected from me for some reason. So I won't get any of the proceeds, which is fine though, but people can get it on there. Otherwise I've got some. So people, if they just reach out, I'll give them my email address at the end. And they can just reach out.
Underneath this video, we'll have
$20
details and everything. So if they just connect with you, if they'd like to read your book, you can get them through you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting because I've actually started doing a blog just for now, because the whole process of the book was learning how to get through the cycle of change, or change, growth more than change, but it's the same kind of thing anyway. And boy, are we in that time right now. So when you know how to transition through that makes all the difference. So I'm really referencing my first book a lot at the moment, and just in talking to people, coaching people. I didn't realize it was such a valuable little book, but
there you go. I'm looking forward to reading it. I keep forgetting to get it off you. So
I know, I must get it to you.
Next time we connect physically, I will need to get the book off you. So. Is the postie still working? Maybe I need to get it popped in the post to me.
What I'll do is you can text me your address and I'll pop in your post box. Then we keep our social distancing when I go to the shop again.
That sounds perfect, Tracey. So I love all the things that you're saying, and I'm sitting here and I saw a presentation by John Acuff, who I quite enjoy, the other day, and he was talking about pivot, don't panic. But I also saw that he posted today, I'm judging you by what's on your bookshelf. And it's with your bookshelf behind you. I'm just like sitting there going,
that's only one of them
right now.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of really interesting books up there. That's only half of them. When we came to New Zealand, I brought my grandmother's chair, because it was the chair that I had fed all my kids in. Gary brought his jeweler's desk, and the rest, and his tools, and then the rest of the stuff was my books. So, priorities, priorities.
Go you.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Going back to John's comment that it's about pivot, don't panic, and I think that's a really, really wise comment. statement even, that this is a time to pivot, you know, like, okay, so you're looking at something and it's doom and gloom. Don't panic about that. Just pivot. Just turn a bit. You don't have to like do a full 360 or 180 or anything. Just pivot.
No.
And see what's there, and take a breath, and don't allow that overwhelm that's coming towards you to panic you. Find that space where you can pivot into and help yourself and your business, and whatever that looks like. And obviously for you, it's like it's opening a window for you to be able to finish your book in time for your birthday, and getting blogs up and all of those sorts of things. So that's really, really awesome. And I know a lot of people read your blogs and find them really inspirational. I love them. Your website will be posted below this, so people can touch into those and read them as well, and I'm sure they'll resonate with them as well. So so that's really awesome. So have you got some tips for people that might be struggling, either they're leading a business, or even just trying to do their business from home? Like that's a whole nother crazy experience for people. You know, I know my husband and I are just constantly, like, we feel like so drained by the end of the day, because all of our meetings now are on a computer in Zoom. Like, it's just like the cafe for everything, and it's like the new office. But I just yesterday afternoon I was like, I just have to go outside. I've just spent so much time in front of a screen, and when we're not in front of a screen, I'm trying to do long division with my son, teaching him how to do long division for homework, and
it's crazy.
Decided not to even bother with this whole school holiday bizzo. It's like, no, a little bit every single day, even on the weekends. It's just, it gives us a little bit of routine with the kids. That there's this expectation that you still have to get yourself out of bed. I'm challenged daily on whether they change out of their pajamas. I'm encouraged that, but struggling somewhat. But, you know, like it's a total different world, you know, to try and adjust and find that, and subject to what age your kids are, it can be super demanding. I'm very, very grateful that our children are nearly 10 and nearly 12, so that they're at that age where they can somewhat do things on their own, you know, like independent. Yes, we have to do some work, but largely they can be really independent, and they'll just go outside and play and entertain themselves and those sorts of things while we are busy doing these sorts of meetings. So so what sort of tips and insight can you give us that maybe will resonate with people in those sorts of different situations?
I think one of the key things is understanding what's driving our behavior at the moment, because this is going to be key, especially, you know, the first weeks being kind of, we've been settling in and finding our new normal. And so I think we've got to understand they basically, I use 8 key needs that drive the behaviors that we have. And so I'll quickly go through them. So first of all, there's certainty. So up until now, there's been very little certainty. And even now, there's very little certainty right now. So if you'd imagine each of these needs is like a bucket. And so we have to fill these buckets. As human beings, we have these needs, and we have to fill them. And we'll fill them in a healthy way or an unhealthy way, depending on what's going on around us and how we are able to fill those needs. So in terms of certainty, we've got to find as much certainty as we can right now about what we can control, and then also acknowledge what we cannot control. And I have a little jar. I call it my let it go jar. And so if there's things that I realize that I absolutely can't control, I just put it in here. And just that action is really helpful, because it's suddenly you realize, this I can control, this I can't. And so I'm going to just put it away and let it go. And that physically doing that is really good for you. The other thing is that there's too much variety right now. So we need to, I love what you're doing with your kids, because what that is creating good routine. But then, because there's too much variety right now, so they don't need more variety.
No,
another key thing, and I think also
I can watch on Netflix right now.
Absolutely. And it's good for them to get a little bit bored, because that's where creativity comes in. So we've got to be brave to allow them to be just a little bit bored.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should tell people this, but in South Africa, and this was a long time ago, my older boys, I used to lock them outside, and you literally only had to do this for 5 minutes, and they still tease me about this. And I used to close the door and make them sit up, and the first 2 minutes they'd sit by the back door kind of going, you're the worst mom ever. And if I just hung out for 3 minutes, within 3 minutes they'd be playing outside, and obviously I'd unlock the door and they wouldn't want to come inside. So I know I shouldn't tell people that they're going to report me, but I tell you, it's just forcing them into that boredom. So and that's helped them get creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, my children, if they say to me that they're bored, because we're not big screen users, although they're certainly getting their fair share at the moment. We're not big screen users, and the kids will be like, I'm bored. I'm like, oh, really? Would you like a job? And it's like, you can go, I've got washing to hang out. You can go, very quickly here away.
Oh, yeah. But my kids learned very early not to ever use those words, because it was just an invitation for them to get some stuff to do.
Exactly.
The other thing we need to be watching out for is our need for significance, because depending on what's going on with our business right now, we might be feeling absolutely like, oh my goodness, I'm a loser. I should have known that. I should have done this. And we really have to guard against that, because when we start feeling insignificant, we can deal with that. And depending on how we know how to fill that bucket, this is when people start puffing up and start getting all angry and mean. And it's not because they are mean people. It's just because they are feeling insignificant right now, because everything's totally out of their control. And so that's sometimes why it brings out the worst in us. So be aware of it. If you know what's driving the behaviors, then we can fix it. We can manage what we know. We cannot manage and own what we don't know. Connection will be another one. And this is something that I really want people to keep an eye out for, because just because you're around, and especially right now, we're in our bubbles. So you suddenly look across the room and go, you're so irritating. Stop doing that, whatever. And there might be actually a breaking down of connection rather than a forging of connection. So depending on how you are moving that. And again, when we see the bad behaviors, it's not to go, oh, why are you being such a, to rather go, what is it that you need right now? So if someone is being super controlling, guess what? They probably feel out of control. And so their way of trying to get some form of control is to become really controlling. Someone gets really mean and nasty and puffs up. Well, maybe they're just feeling really insignificant right now. So we've kind of got to look past, and this is with, people in our bubble, or even our clients or our staff. If they're working from home, you might be seeing some really bad behavior. Don't assume the behavior is who they are. The behavior is just telltale signs of what's going on in the background, and some needs that need to be driven. And as leaders, this is where you can really prove yourself as a leader by not judging the book by its cover, but to be brave enough to go, hey, how are you really doing? Your last few emails that have been coming through, your last few messages, it just doesn't sound like you. And people appreciate when you kind of go, this isn't who you are, what's going on? And it's okay. I'm not judging you, and I'm not going to take the bait, and I'm not going to jump in the same kind of thing, but just to help people work through that, because 9 times out of 10, we're oblivious to the fact that why our behaviors are going on like this way. So those first 4 are your survival needs, and we need them, and we will pull on them, and it's about getting them met. The other 4 needs that I want to kind of bring up is growth. So right now, you're absolutely right what you said, that chap was saying about it's don't panic, pivot. Well, we have an opportunity. I really believe that this COVID-19 whole thing is, we have an opportunity to reset our businesses and our lives, and just recheck everything. Like, that's the word that, absolutely. That's the word that's really just resonating with me right now, is reset, start again. There's no harm in that. And that's growth. It's being able to maneuver through. There's 4 stages of growth. There's the disharmony. So it's all about we feel churned up. It's all uncertainty. Then it's about awareness, figuring out what it is that I need, what it is that others need, what it is I need to do, what I can control, what I can't control. And that forges hope. That gives us a tree to climb up and then suddenly see into the future. And then we can start going, so what do I want this business to look like when the dust all settles? And then we go through the valley of insight, because now we need to try the new things and they don't always go well. We'll be trying how to do new ways of coaching and new ways of doing our business, and they might not go well, but don't be discouraged. Keep moving through the valley of insight. And at the end of that, we'll actually come out and you will succeed. And then it's all about mastery. And then no sooner has we settled, guess what? Disharmony comes knocking at our door, because it's time to grow again. And that's, if you understand that it's just a cycle, and if you think about climbing up a mountain, it's just go straight up. We normally go round and round, and so that's how we grow in cycles. But when we don't grow, this is when we hit the crazy eight, and we hit the problems, is because we refuse to actually solve the real problems, and we start solving safe problems. So an example would be, I'm suddenly realizing, and I'm not using, this is not me, although we did have this at the beginning of the week. So I'm using this as, it actually is me. So suddenly realizing, I'm reaching out and getting connection from in a negative space. So you can use all sorts of examples. So it could be food or wine or binging on Netflix, and it's not, none of those are bad in themselves, but when we're doing it to make ourselves feel better and to fill a need, then it's just solving a safe problem, you see, rather than realizing, hang on, what's the real problem here? And that's where the growth happens, is when we go, the real problem is actually, even though we are spending so much time together, I'm feeding my need with food or wine or Netflix or whatever it is. We can use all sorts of things, and those in themselves aren't bad, but I'm using it to actually feed me rather than actually get it from the real source. So it's identifying what are safe problems. And the safe problem would be, I must eat healthily, or I must cut down on the wine, or I must cut down on the screen time. But we're not really solving the real problem, which is, I'm hurting right now because I feel like we're really disconnected. So it means having that brave and uncomfortable conversation that goes, hey, I'm just not feeling like we're on this, we're not good right now. And being able to have that. And then you find immediately the crazy eight is gone. You suddenly don't need whatever it is that you needed to fulfill that. So then we start working on love. So it means, being self-sacrificial. So it's more than just connecting. And then it's about contribution. Is what can I do for others? And what you're doing here is exactly that. It's about contribution. It's about doing something that's bigger than you. And when we're in that space, that's when it really makes a difference. And then the last one is about legacy. So thinking about, like I said earlier, the core value for me is making a difference. And so if we take our significance, and it's healthy significance, and we pair it up with contribution, what we leave is a good legacy. And that's what we're wanting to do. So, in this time, what we do is going to count, is going to say a lot about who we are. And so, let's be mindful about what we do. Let's be, when our behavior is not matching up to who we know we are, let's just stop and go, hang on, what's really going on here? And be brave enough to actually solve the real problem and not the safe problem.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps everyone.
Yeah, look, Tracey, I think, and look, you know what? I think that can apply not only to our businesses, but to our children, the way that we interact.
Oh, absolutely.
The relationships that we have with our children. I was just even sort of reflecting, going the other night, the kids went loopy and wouldn't go to bed, and we had let them watch the one reality TV program we watch with the kids is Lego Masters. And we watch it back at a time appropriate for us, and we hadn't got round to it all day. And so I said, well, if we've all done showers and teeth and everything after dinner, then we can watch it before bed. Now, we know that our kids don't do well at going to bed if they have TV, between dinner time and bedtime. That's not a good time for our kids to have screen time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we felt bad that they hadn't had it all day, and you know, we'd just sort of been just life, and so we let them have TV then, and then it went to pot. It totally went to pot, and and then the next night, Harrison, our eldest, was angling for TV after dinner again. And Daryl actually said, he said to him, no, because we understand, we saw it last night. You guys don't manage this well. Your heads don't manage it well. What we will do instead is we'll sit around as a family and we'll have a chat, and you can tell us about all those things that are inside your brain so that they're out of your brain when it's time for you to go to bed. Which is more of a burden on us than sitting down watching Lego Masters with the kids. But it's what they actually need right now, is that connection, because we are disconnected through the day because we're still trying to run our businesses, yet they are still here. So it's identifying what it is that we're dealing with, as opposed to just sort of putting a sticking plaster over something and saying they've got bad behavior. And it's like, well, it's not actually bad behavior. It's just we let them have something that doesn't agree with them at that time, but it kind of was like they're actually seeking attention. They actually want time with us and connection with us. And so it is, you know, like all of those things all the way through. It's just like, oh, all of this applies to the kids, every single one of these things, you know. And I agree that what we do right now matters, whether it's with our businesses or ourselves or our children. Because I know myself, like I'm loving staying at home. It completely plays to my introvert. I have a very strong extrovert factor too, who keeps, you know, my introvert side keeps the extrovert okay in this situation. And I'm loving it. I'm like, do we get to opt out of returning to society after this? Because I'm good. I'm good with this stuff.
Great.
But I'm really embracing it for the gift that it is, that we actually get to slow down. Like I have been working super hard personally to slow down over the last 6 years, and to really be present and enjoy what I have right here, because I do love my family, and I am ever so grateful for everything that we do have. And it's this beautiful time for us to really connect at that level. And the circumstances are, it doesn't matter what car you drive, because no one's driving their car, and no one's out there seeing what you drive. There's no point keeping the Joneses, because they're in their jammies as well. You know, like honestly, it's taking away all of those external factors that we feel like we have to, you know, or expectations that we put on ourselves. That there is no expectation. We can just be ourselves right now. And connecting with my children during this time, I want them to look back at this time and tell their children, oh my God, when we were 9, there was this big pandemic across the world, and we all had to stay at home for 4 weeks, and we got to do this and that and the other. You know, I want them to
look back. Memories were from there.
With amazing memories of the time that we've spent together, you know, like Daryl was teaching them how to, you know, like flick beer caps the other night. You know, I'm like, oh gosh, should we really be teaching our kids this stuff? But you know, home learning,
life skills
of life. But it's stuff that we wouldn't normally do, you know. And you know, Imogen said to me this morning, she said, "Oh, Mummy, can we play a game?" I'm like, "Yep, I've got to be online at 11 o'clock. So as long as it's not more than a 30-minute game, I can play it." Whereas in life, I'd be like, no, sorry, I need to go and have a shower and do this and do that and get out the door. And I'm making sure that if they ask me things, it's like, actually, I don't need to say no. I can just say yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's such a good thing. Yeah.
You know? So really, all of those things that you talked about, you know, we can harness all of those into our personal lives and into our businesses, but into our personal lives to really make this a really precious time to share.
Yeah. Well, it starts with us first. You know, anything that you do, it's got to start with us. We lead first, and then we lead by example, and we lead others. But unless we're doing it ourselves, unless we understand what triggers us, what makes us, what drives us, we can't help others. And so good job.
No, so I think all the things that you have shared are just beautiful, and we can all find something in there that will resonate with us, and something that we can reflect on and bring into our lives, or our businesses, or with our children, whatever it is. We can bring those things in and apply them during this time to to help make this a really positive space and a really nice memory for our family, you know, like in terms of this time and space in our life. It may never ever happen again in our lifetime. Let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you know, I really do see it as a gift, and it's really so is there anything from your coaching skills and all of those sorts of things that while you're sitting crocheting and watching binge watching Netflix and all of those sorts of things that you actually do instill in your own day that maybe others might want to think about instilling as well?
Yeah, I think, I do it in the mornings. It's just as I'm standing there, I was just saying to this client, actually blessed me with a beautiful coffee, an espresso machine. And so every morning, it's a lovely ritual. And I know we shouldn't be drinking too much coffee. And so I'm being as disciplined as I can right now just to have the one.
One a day.
But yeah, one a day. But so as I'm standing there, and so whatever it is that you do when you have to stand and wait for something, is I'm literally going, and it's not about if necessary even a business thing, but it's going, what one thing can I do today that will add value to my family, my business, kind of my life as a whole, because it only needs to, and it doesn't need to be big things either. It just needs to be one small little thing, an adjustment, a thought, a reaching out, whatever it is. What one thing can I do every day that's going to add value to others and myself and my family and my business? And it's a really simple thing, but man, it can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's just something that I thought I'm standing here waiting for it to kind of the water to pour and do its little thing, and the milk to froth up. And so, you know, just kind of, it's about mindfulness, I suppose, and just going, so what will today look like? And I suppose in the evening then to go, so did I do something? Did I do something that added value? Just to check in on us.
Just to check in, yeah, that's lovely. I like that, Tracey. I really do. Yeah, and I'm going to give you permission for that one a day, that one coffee a day. Because
oh, thank you. I suddenly realized. Yeah, coffee's naughty. I do know that.
Coffee is something that you enjoy, and you're allowed to enjoy it.
I do.
Don't think it's
no guilt. And that's one of the things that I've decided. It's as long as it's one a day, because but if you're drinking it with guilt, then what's the point?
Exactly. So absolutely.
Savor it. It. So yeah.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Good. Thank you so much, Tracey. I've really enjoyed connecting with you today and hearing your story and the advice and information that you have shared with us all. I'm sure it will resonate with many. It certainly resonates with me. So I really, really enjoy that. We'll pop all of Tracey's details down in the comments underneath this video so that you can connect directly with Tracey. Go and jump on her website and read her blogs. And if you would like to talk with Tracey directly, you can contact her through those details. I'm sure she'll be pleased to hear from you. So that's about it for today. Thank you again, Tracey. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I look forward to giving you, I'll give you my address. So I look forward to reading your book.
All right. I'll drop it off.
Thanks, Tracey.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.